Hello, my name's David. I'm reading a story every night this week as part of the City Council's big reading challenge. I want to raise money for the Imagination Library, a charity that gives free books to children in Nottingham. Reading is so important for children, and that's why I'm going to read a story tonight and every night this week. It's called My Father's Dragon by Ruth Stiles Gannett.
My father walked back and forth along the bank, trying to think of some way to cross the river. He found a high flagpole with a rope going over to the other side. The rope went through a loop at the top of the pole and then down the pole and around a large crank. The sign on the crank said, "To summon dragon, yank the crank, report disorderly conduct to gorilla." From what the cat had told my father, he knew that the end of the rope was tied around the dragon's neck, and he felt even sorrier than ever for the poor dragon. If he were on this side, the gorilla would twist his wings until it hurt so much that he'd have to fly to the other side. And if he was on the other side, the gorilla would crank the rope until the dragon would either choke to death or fly back to this side. What a life for the poor baby dragon. My father knew that if he called to the dragon to come across the river, the gorilla would surely hear him, so he thought about climbing the pole and going across the rope. The pole was very high, and even if he could get to the top without being seen, he'd have to go all the way across, hand over hand. The river was very muddy, and all sorts of unfriendly things might live in it. But my father, who could think of no other way to get across, what was he to do? He was about to start up the pole when, despite all the noise the monkeys were making, he heard a loud splash behind him. He looked around in the water, but it was dusk now, and he couldn't see anything. "It's me, Crocodile," said a voice to the left. "The water's lovely. I'm having a craving for something sweet. Won't you come in for a swim?" The pale moon came out from behind the clouds, and my father could see where the voice was coming from. The crocodile's head was just peeping out of the water. "Oh, no, thank you," said my father. "I never swim after sundown, but I do have something sweet to offer you. Perhaps you'd like a lollipop, and perhaps your friends would like lollipops too." "Lollipops?" said the crocodile. "Why, is that a treat? How about it, boys?" The whole chorus of voices shouted, "Hurrah! Lollipops!" And my father counted as many as 17 crocodiles with their heads just peeping out of the water. "That's fine," said my father, as he got out the 24 pink lollipops and the rubber bands. "I'll stick one here in the bank. Lollipops last longer if you keep them out of the water, you know. Now, one of you can have this one." The crocodile who'd first spoken swam up and tasted it. "Delicious, mighty delicious," he said. "Now, if you don't mind," said my father, "I'll just walk along your back and fasten another lollipop to the tip of your tail with a rubber band. You don't mind, do you?" "Oh, not in the least," said the crocodile. "Can you get your tail out of the water just a bit?" asked my father. "Oh, yes, of course," said the crocodile, and lifted him up with his tail. Then my father ran along his back and fastened another lollipop with a rubber band. "Who's next?" said my father, and the second crocodile swam up and began sucking on that lollipop. "Now, you gentlemen can save a lot of time if you just line up across the river," said my father, "and I'll go along and give each of you a lollipop." So the crocodiles lined right up across the river with their tails in the air, waiting for my father to fasten the rest of the lollipops. The tail of the 17th crocodile just reached the other bank. When my father was crossing on the backs of the 15th crocodile with 2 more lollipops to go, the noise of the monkeys suddenly stopped, and he could hear a much bigger noise getting louder every second. Then he could hear 7 furious tigers, and 1 raging rhinoceros, and 2 seething lions, and 1 ranting gorilla, along with countless screeching monkeys, led by 2 extremely irate wild boars, all yelling, "It's a trick! It's a trick! There's an invasion, and it must be after our dragon! Kill it! Kill it!" The whole crowd stampeded down the bank. As my father was fixing the 17th lollipop for the last crocodile, he heard a wild boar scream. "Look, it came this way. It's over there now, see it? The crocodile's made a bridge for it." And just as my father leapt onto the bank, one of the wild boars jumped onto the back of the first crocodile. My father didn't have a moment to spare. By now, the dragon realised that my father was coming to rescue him. He ran out of the bushes, jumped up and down, yelling, "Here I am! I'm right here! Can you see me? Hurry! The boar is coming over on the crocodiles too. They're all coming over. Oh, please hurry! Hurry!" My father ran up to the dragon and took out his very sharp knife. "Steady, boy, steady. We'll make it. Just stand still." And he told the dragon as he began to saw through the big rope. By this time, both the boars, all 7 tigers, the 2 lions, the rhinoceros, and the gorilla, along with countless screeching monkeys, were all on their way across the crocodiles, and there was still a lot more rope to cut through. "Oh, hurry!" the dragon kept saying, and my father again told him to stand still. "If I don't think I can make it, we'll fly over to the river on the other side, and I can finish it cutting the rope there." Suddenly, the screaming grew louder and madder, and although my father thought the animals must have crossed the river, he looked around and saw something which surprised and delighted him. Partly because he had finished his lollipop, and partly because, as I told you before, crocodiles are very moody and not the least bit dependable, and are always looking for something to eat. The first crocodile had turned away from the bank and started swimming down the river. The second crocodile hadn't finished yet, so he followed right after the first, still sucking his lollipop. All the rest did the same thing, one right after the other, until they were swimming away in a line. The 2 wild boars, the 7 tigers, the rhinoceros, the 2 lions, the gorilla, along with countless screeching monkeys, were all riding down the middle of the river on the train of crocodiles, sucking pink lollipops, and all yelling and screaming and getting their toes wet. My father and the dragon laughed themselves weak because it was such a silly sight. As soon as they had recovered, my father finished cutting the rope, and the dragon raced around in circles and tried to turn a somersault. He was the most excited baby dragon that ever lived. My father was in a hurry to fly away, and when the dragon finally calmed down a bit, my father climbed onto his back. "All aboard," said the dragon. "Where shall we go?" "Well, we'll spend the night on the beach, and tomorrow we can start our journey home. So it's off to the shores of Tangerina," said my father, as the dragon soared above the dark jungle and the muddy river, and all the animals bellowing at him, and all the crocodiles licking pink lollipops and grinning wide grins. After all, what did the crocodiles care about a way to cross the river? And what a fine feast they were carrying on their backs. As my father and the dragon passed over the ocean rocks, they heard a tiny, excited voice scream, "We dreed our naggin! We need our dragon!" But my father and the dragon knew that nothing in the world would ever make them go back to the wild island.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. If any of the grown-ups listening with you would like to sponsor our big reading challenge, please go to the GoFundMe website, which is on the screen, so we can get even more stories to Nottingham children. Thank you. Bye-bye.